Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports podcast that does not apologize for championship rings and tings. I am your host, Ross Bolen, and ladies and gentlemen, your Houston Astros are once again World Series champions. They told us we would never be here again. They mocked our 2017 trophy. They made us scapegoats for years. They called our boys cheaters. Well, Houston, what will they call us now? A dynasty. They will call us a dynasty. 30 for 30 type shit, son. 4 World Series trips in 6 years with 2 wins is by definition a dynasty. Go look up how many teams in the history of Major League Baseball have accomplished such a stretch. If it wasn't abundantly clear already, our Houston Astros are officially one of the great franchises in the history of sport. Any sport. What a team. What a story. What a dominant postseason for the ages. And God, it felt good to watch the squad celebrate on our own turf right there in Minute Maid with the fans and the energy in the city. It was perfect. It could not have been more perfect. So let's start with the heroes of this particular offseason, the guys that made the biggest difference and ensured we brought home this so validating and glorious second championship. I mean, there were legitimately 5 different guys who could have received the World Series MVP award that went to rookie shortstop Jeremy Pena, and nobody would have complained. For starters, no pun intended, the entire fucking bullpen. Ryan Pressly, my dude. Wow. Did you shut the doubters and my dad the hell up? Ryan appeared in 5 of 6 World Series games, saving the final 2, and only Framber, Verlander, and Christian Javier, all starters, pitched more innings than Presley's 5.2. He allowed just 2 hits, he recorded 5 strikeouts, 1 unearned run, and in Game 5, he shut down the Phillies' momentum, preserved a series-defining road win. Nails. He was nails. He was everything you need your closer to be. So fucking happy for Ryan and Kat and their boys. The Pressly family rules. Brian Abreu had one of the great postseasons by a reliever in the history of baseball. Hector Neris, the former Philly, came through. Ryan Stanek, the Viking King, a.k.a. Baseball Rake Yan. He wasn't even needed as often as I thought he would be. The combined no-hitter, my God. Brian Abreu, Montero and Pressly coming in after Christian Javier for the first no-hitter in the World Series since Don Larsen's perfect game for the Yankees in Game 5, 1956? The amount of shit like that this team accomplished this postseason, the years that are getting thrown out for comparison, none of them are recent. Among 94 teams that saw their bullpens log 35 or more innings in a single postseason, the Astros had the lowest ERA, 0.83, with just 5 earned runs over 54 and a third innings. The lowest opponent batting average of 126, the lowest opponent on base percentage at 215, the lowest opponent slugging percentage at 208, the lowest whip at .075. Houston's bullpen is also the first to throw at least 40 innings in a single postseason and post a sub 1.0 ERA. Holy fucking shit. I'm about to come. In 2019, it felt like the pitching, that was what was missing, right? We were like, oh, damn it. Pitching's not quite where we needed it to be. In 2021, it felt like we weren't quite healthy enough. And in 2022, it all came together to make one of the most impressive pitching staffs in the history of postseason baseball. Just unbelievable. Huge kudos to all the arms in the pen and to Dusty Baker for the management of said arms, questionable as it may have been in games 1 and 3. You cannot deny the end result, and you can argue that the starters put Dusty in a difficult position. It's Verlander, man. What are you going to do? It's Lance McCullers Jr. What are you going to do? Whew, now everyone is going to gush over Jeremy Pena's offensive performance, but look, to move on from the bullpen, phenomenal. The bullpen could have been the MVP. Presley could have been the MVP. To move on, Jeremy Pena's offensive performance, obviously worth discussing. But do not forget the Golden Glove winning rookie shortstop was also masterful in the field. So many clutch defensive plays to go with the clutch hitting. I cannot believe how quickly this kid made us forget about Carlos Correa. And I say that with all due respect to Correa, okay? He's 25 years old, Jeremy Pena, by the way. So is Kyle Tucker. So is Yordan Alvarez. And if that doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what will. But Pena was incredible on both sides of the ball. I couldn't even wrap my head around what I was seeing with this kid. He's fucking unbelievable. It's like he got just the right amount of failure out of the way in the regular season, which wasn't very much failure, I would add. Like a couple errors here and there. And in the postseason, he was almost immaculate. You got Alex Bregman, 28 years old. Easily could have been the World Series MVP. Easily could have been the League Championship Series MVP as well. It sucked ass watching Breggs struggle with not being 100% last year. Really, the last couple years, it felt like he wasn't all the way there. He wasn't all the way healthy. He wasn't all the way happy. And man, did it feel good watching him fully healthy out there doing his fucking thing. I mean, he might have broken a finger from that tag at second in Game 6, but fuck it, he's got months to recover from that. And the point is, Alex Bregman, the father, was everything we needed and wanted and more this postseason. Breggy bombs for everyone, forever. Yordan Alvarez, I mean, what can you say about that dude? How many times can the commenters say young Barry Bonds before you realize, holy shit, he might actually be that type of power hitter who eventually demands that you pitch around him every at-bat? Yordan's 450-foot bomb into dead center basically ended the series. I will still argue that fucking idiot, their Kyle Schwarber trying to bunt with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the World Series was a direct result of having seen what Yordan did to that baseball. He just couldn't do it anymore. It was over. He gave up. Somebody had to wave the white flag, and Kyle Schwarber did it. And I think it was because of Yordan. It's just like, how am I supposed to compete with this? It's ridiculous. Not only are you dealing with the pitching, but then you've got the guy that you would expect to be the guy blasting the ball 450 feet to give your team the lead actually doing that? Remember, the postseason is a totally different animal from regular season baseball. It's why you have guys like Altuve struggle so much, and yet the team is able to succeed because often, as we talked about before the series started, it's the hobbits, right? It's the little guys that you don't necessarily talk about all season long. They're the ones that come through and make something special happen in the postseason. I mean, that was the case with this team, but also we had guys like Yordan, who you do expect, who are not the hobbits. You could argue he's a giant, doing what you wanted him to do. It's like we got the best of both worlds this year, and it was so good. I cried when he hit that home run. Like, not like, like a baby, but like tears came down my face when he hit that home run. 450 fucking feet, are you kidding me? It was beautiful. It was that beautiful that it brought tears to my eyes. It was magnificent. It was perfect. If he wasn't an Astros legend already, he certainly is now. Speaking of Astros legends, after dumbass Twitter fans yelled to trade Yuli Gurriel all season long, playoff Yuli was born. And it was so odd. Seeing Yuli, I mean, he was great. He was like batting title Yuli, but only for the postseason. He was postseason Yuli. He did the thing that Rondo does in the NBA, or used to do back in the day, where he would just like coast the whole season and then show up and crush it in the playoffs. And he's a free agent now, obviously. Terrible way to see him get hurt in Game 5 so that he couldn't play in Game 6. But Mancini stepped up at first base, even got a hit after being 0-18. Yuli crushed it the whole postseason. I mean, if that was his last game as an Astro, could it have possibly gone better? We won everything, all of it. And you felt like, in a way, it was for Yuli. He's one of the guys that's been here the whole time. Him, Bregman, and Altuve are, I think, the 3 offensive players that still remain from back in 2017. He's one of the dudes that's carried the burden of the booze, of the hate, from stadium to stadium to stadium. And this season, Yuli had to take it from you people. Talking about trading the fucking active batting title champion? What the hell is wrong with you? And he showed you what's wrong with you. You're demented and insane, and you need to let the sports shit be handled by the sports professionals. If you're one of the people that called for Yuli Gurriel to be traded this season, you're done. You're no longer allowed to share your opinions on what should be done with the team. Just watch the games and say what you saw. Don't talk about which players should be playing or who should be traded. You're an idiot. You're done. It's over. You forfeited your opinion card when Yuli Gurriel showed up as playoff Yuli and shoved it down your throat. But everybody could. Chaz McCormick. His catch, I will never forget that shit. There is still confusion around whether or not that picture of his imprint in the warning track is actually real. It is real. It's very real. And it's one of the coolest sports photos I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the best catches in the history of the postseason. Chaz McCormick, a dude named Chaz McCormick, was one of our heroes. How many heroes can you have? Get to a dude named Chaz. No offense, it's just a goofy-ass name, Chaz. You know it's a goofy name. Kyle Tucker. King Tuck, man. Still. Crown his ass. 2 home runs in game 1. We somehow still lost that thing. It'll never cease to blow my mind. But, like, when he hit those 2 home runs, I was like, I turned to my wife, I go, oh, well, Kyle Tucker's going to win World Series MVP. And that got taken from him because the momentum of that game went to the Phillies, and Verlander shit the bed. But the point is, unbelievable, this guy. Unbelievable. But I think ALCS and World Series MVP did end up going to the right kid, Jeremy Pena, because no words can fully and adequately explain the awe I feel when I think back to the day we all found out Carlos Correa was gone. Think back to how down everybody was. Granted, this is a team coming off of another World Series appearance, and our fan base, fickle as sports fans are, was miserable. Everybody's yelling at Jim Crane, pissed off that we lost our all-star shortstop. I mean, this kid filled that hole faster than you could even get. I'm not sure a rookie in sports history has ever stepped up and not only filled a departing all-star in his prime's shoes, but somehow busted out of those shoes and brought his own bigger and better shoes? Carlos who? And again, I mean no disrespect to Correa. The dude is an Astros legend. That's just how good Jeremy Pena was. It's his rookie season. He won ALCS MVP. He won World Series MVP, and altogether had a better postseason than Carlos Correa has ever had and maybe ever will have in terms of impact individually. And that, again, is with all due respect and really, really, really saying something. Because Correa was incredible in October, in November. He was incredible. But he wasn't Jeremy Pena. He was not Jeremy Pena. And have you seen this dude's biceps? Those are pornographic. That's not even like, those look fake. He looks like a fucking Ken doll. He looks like a Ken doll mixed with the kid from The Sandlot, Benny the Jet from The Sandlot. And that's our shortstop now. No big deal. That was the other people. Like, Correa was like a charismatic, good-looking dude. You know what I mean? A little bit cocky, bit of a shit talker. It's even an upgrade in that form. Pena's, he's younger, he's better looking, and he's nicer. He doesn't talk shit like that. He's the most humble dude on the face of the earth. They gave him the World Series MVP, and he told him to turn the camera away from him and onto the actual team and the trophy that really mattered. And I got goosebumps. What a team. What an absurd collection of ballers. Today's episode is brought to you by MyBookie, our online sportsbook and casino sponsor here at Banging the Can. If you're looking for a place to get all the action you can handle this NFL season, to bet on NBA, college football, golf, MMA, boxing, or whatever, all your sports betting needs are taken care of at MyBookie.ag. They've got all the prop bets, live lines, alternate lines, and futures that you could possibly need. I've been on MyBookie for years now. Incredible site. They got the online casino with live roulette, blackjack, and more. For a limited time, you join the MyBookie family using the code ROSS at checkout, ROSS, it's my name, and you'll support the show and you'll receive a deposit bonus instantly giving you even more dough to throw at your favorite sporting event or on the tables. The website's awesome. On desktop and on mobile, on your phone. Incredibly easy to use, beautifully laid out. Go check it out now, MyBookie.ag. What are you waiting for? Just use promo code ROSS at sign up to claim your bonus at MyBookie.ag today and lock in for the rest of the NFL season. Bet on the Astros to win it all again next year. Or just fade the Texans and Rockets every game. That's probably a sound strategy at this point. Do your thing. MyBookie.ag, code ROSS to unlock the deposit bonus and support our podcast. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag, code ROSS when you sign up. Speaking of gambling, Mattress Mack, Jim McIngvale, as it were, won a record. By the way, I will call him Mattress Mack during the Astros season and postseason. I will call him Jim McIngvale as soon as that ends. It's like a Cinderella type of situation with this guy, all right? Let's be realistic here, all right? He's a little, something is off. Mac, God bless him. He's done a lot for the city, but I look at the man and I say, oh boy, there's something we don't know about that I really don't know that we do want to know about. And I'm happy for everybody who scored a free mattress, all right? It's nice to kind of have an old, goofy, gambling degenerate be the face of our franchise's fan base on a national level. That's really fun. He's out there throwing, fuck you, at the Philly fans. That's great. That's great. Love all that. But I'm just saying, let's be careful with Mattress Mack. All right, Jim McIngvale. This dude, he looks a little like an orc. All right, there's like some evil growing within him or something. I don't know what dude's deal is. I know he's a hero in Houston. I know he's not to be spoken negatively of. All I'm saying is let's be careful. Let's be Jim McIngvale in the offseason, all right, folks? He's a human being. Slanging mattresses, one of the greatest marketing schemes in the history of capitalism, no doubt, to be commended. A local hero for sheltering people during natural disasters, no doubt. To be rewarded even, awarded. I'm sure he's gotten a medal at some point from the city, but the dude freaks me out a little bit. All right, that's all I'm saying. Last thing I'll say in a negative way is he freaks me out a little bit. Houston super fan, obviously. The guy won a record $75 million on World Series bets. Now, much of that is hedged against his furniture promotions and is actually going to go back. A big bulk of it, big chunk of it will go back to gallery furniture customers. But he did have a combined, I think, $10 million in bets at various sports books riding on the Astros to win with an average odds of 7.5 to 1. So the team obviously winning with a 4-1 victory in Game 6 gave him an estimated $75 million in winnings, which makes it the largest legal sports betting payout in United States history, which is really something. It's crazy. It's just not quite what it seems when you back it out with the furniture stuff and find out it's just a big giant marketing scheme for this dude to move mattresses and couches and shit. But yeah, shout out to, I think, so if I'm not mistaken, if you went in and you bought, let's say, like a $15,000 mattress, I don't even know what that would entail, like gold feathers inside of it or something, but then the Astros win. Now you no longer have to pay for that mattress. I think you get the money back or something, right? So it's a free mattress. Essentially, what I do love about this as a degenerate gambler myself is that it allows everybody to hedge in one of the funniest ways ever. Like if you believe the Astros are going to win the World Series next year, you should just wait for Mac to do his promotion, go buy a mattress, and then potentially if they win, you got a bed for free. Right? Well, not for free, but it's all hedged out in this massive gambling scheme, which is hilarious. I feel like the SEC or like, not the SEC, whoever regulates like advertising is probably looking at this guy like, God damn it, sir. You're making us do so much work. But yeah, $75 million in World Series winning bets because the guy's a psychopath. To jump back to the Astros. Look, this is the craziest thing about this team to me. You can go back to the year 2014 with George Springer in his rookie season, and every single year we have had what I guess you would call like an impact rookie, but like a major difference maker of a rookie. 2014, George Springer. 2015, Carlos Correa. 2016, Alex Bregman. 2017, Yuli Gurriel. 2018, Kyle Tucker. 2019, Yordan Alvarez. 2020, you've got Javier. 2021, Garcia. 2022, Jeremy Pena. How the fuck? That is crazy. Every year consecutively, you've had, those have been the rookies? George Springer, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, Yuli Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez. What the fuck? Javier, Garcia, Pena. That's nuts. That's how you build a dynasty right there. And that's the reason I'm not like, there's a lot of speculation around James Click, whether or not he'll be brought back, what's going on with Dusty, right? But I don't know how you don't bring James Click back after the way we saw this all unfold. Jim Crane has some decisions to make, obviously. We know the first call he was going to make after the series was going to be to Justin Verlander, right? To see what Verlander wants to do. And that's another question mark, too. If you're an Astros fan, I mean, you know the team isn't going to throw crazy money at Verlander. It's a 1 or a 2 year deal. And whether or not he's going to want to do that. And whether or not the finances make sense for him, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know where Verlander's head is at. He's a weird dude. Verlander is not like all in on Houston, okay? That's not really his thing. It's not, I'm not even saying that's a realistic thing for any professional sports player to actually say and achieve and be able to you know, keep true to their word with. Like, oh, I'm here forever. Remember Harden said that shit? It's a difficult situation. You're talking about generational wealth on a year-to-year basis that can be achieved via free agency contracts. So it's not an easy decision. I'm not saying it should be an easy decision, but what I am saying is that the man is old. Verlander, he's aged. He's not who he used to be, right? He's also the most anxiety-producing pitcher in the history of the World Series. Okay, so I'm not sure, especially based on our current pitching staff and how stacked it is, that it's worth carving out a whole lot of salary cap for this guy, right? So there's a number there somewhere that makes sense that Jim Crane's going to have to figure out. And that's if Verlander even wants to stay, right? So there are some question marks. There's a few other guys, none of them that are all that consequential, that are going to be going or staying, potentially. Yuli Gurriel being one of the bigger names. But to me, the biggest decision that will be made moving forward is whether or not they bring back our general manager. Whether Click comes back. Dusty sounds like he wants to come back and do it again, try to win another ring. I didn't really expect that. I almost expected him to retire in the World Series postgame show. But he didn't. He might come back, and that would be great. I would welcome him with open arms. I'm not sure how many decisions he's making on the fly anymore anyway. Like I said at some point on the podcast, it's like he's more of a spiritual leader being guided by paper, I think. But Dusty Baker is fucking awesome. The results speak for themselves. How you don't try to extend both of those dudes is sort of beyond me. So hopefully Jim Crane is. Now, I'm going to take a step back here and say something. We have all forfeited the right, all of us, to question Jim Crane's moves, all right? No more. I know it's fun, and I know if you're in sports media, it's part of your job, right? Pick apart the owner's decisions, but Jesus, people. 4 trips in 6 years with 2 wins, and with what the fucking 2014 to 2022 run of impact rookies that I just read you, we don't get to question this dude anymore. Jim Crane is everything you want in an owner. He implemented a strategy, he stuck with it, and we've got 2 trophies as a result. We're the envy of the entire baseball fucking league, man, Major League Baseball. It's crazy where this team is. And that's the result of the owner and the decisions he has made. I can't commend him enough. He's he's like the polar opposite of Cal McNair, where he's just a turd out there. He's not doing shit. Every decision he seems to make gets worse. Jim Crane is the opposite. He's incredible. You got to tip your hat. This team, I mean, look, I'll give you my personal story very quickly. The too long didn't read version of my since 2017 for me what this team has done. In 2017, when the Astros won their first World Series title, I was 4 days removed from making one of the biggest decisions I have ever made in quitting alcohol, going dry, sobering up, and getting my life together. It was a really, really challenging time for me. And the Astros got me through it. I was 4 days sober when they won. And it made it all okay. In 2019, we were back in the World Series the week my ex-wife literally left me and began the process of divorcing me, and the Astros got me through it, even though we didn't win another championship. In 2021, I was weaning off of an antidepressant, dealing with horrifying mental health issues as a result of the withdrawals, experiencing manic episodes and suicidal ideations, and the Astros got me through it, even though we didn't win. And this year, in 2022, somehow, once again, I found myself in the crosshairs of crisis, experiencing something called re-traumatization that people with PTSD can apparently go through. It was my first time. And it was one of the shittiest weeks of my entire life, bar none. I couldn't even travel for my brother Sam's wedding, which was absolutely devastating. But the Astros got me through it. And we won. I share all this to say, first of all, yes, this dynasty has supported me through what has been an insane several-year transition period. And really, it's like transition after transition after transition. I can't even tell you the amount of weird shit I've been through, pandemic aside, the last several years. But also to show this team means so much to so many millions of people around the world. You have to remember that. It's not even just in Houston. And we all have our own stories and memories, and from the floods of Hurricane Harvey to the personal strife we just all go through in life, this Astros team has been a constant source of inspiration and strength since the 2017 World Series run. That's a hell of a 5-year, 6-year stretch right there. And I've been a fan since I was old enough to hold a little souvenir baseball bat. Born and raised in the greatest city on earth, Houston, Texas, but not until Saturday, November 5th, in the year of our Lord 2022, did I realize this team's importance to me. To all of us that are fans. They are a part of our story. All of us, Houstonians, Astros fans, and we are a part of theirs. And it's kind of the thing. It's not just, it's the beauty of baseball, it's the magic of sports, but it's also the one massive silver lining to the entire controversy that surrounded this ball club is that it brought us all even closer together, right? As fans, not just on the team. In the clubhouse, it created a whole nother type of atmosphere and culture that is just winning, and that's all that matters, and that's awesome too. But within it bonded the team, the fans, all of us, this brand, Astros baseball, it turned into like a real squad. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that. It was the Houston against the world. H-Town versus everybody. That mentality was born as a result of the controversy. And honestly, it's made it all the more sweet. Just we needed this, obviously, right? We needed redemption in a way. It's not even redemption. It's an exclamation point. It's a fuck you, yes, it happened, but no, we didn't need it. And everybody was doing it. And you can't make us scapegoats forever. Get over it. We're better than you. I mean, to the Yankees, to the Dodgers, to the haters, it doesn't get any better. There's no better way to shit on people who root against you than by winning. That's the best revenge in life, is living good and stacking dubs. And that's what this team does. And here's a funny thought. Was that even our best effort? I mean, if you saw the way this team is capable of clicking offensively at different points in the regular season, the terrifying reality for the rest of the league is that no, this was not even the Astros' best shot. You could argue our bullpen gave it their best shot, but offensively, this team was sort of sluggish and searching for spots, and it did not even fucking matter. We still only lost 2 games the whole postseason. 2 games. One in Houston, one in Philly. The entire postseason. Two games. Man, I went into this shit like I was so stressed out already. And for a variety of reasons that we don't need to get into. But the point is I was extremely stressed and I was worried because I was like, I know how tough these postseason runs in baseball can be. I mean, it is really, really exhausting going through, like 5 games in 6 days or whatever, where every pitch matters so much. It's such high intensity. I mean, I was worried that it was just going to be this miserable, miserable ride from the ALDS to the ALCS to the World Series, and it wasn't. It was, I don't know if it gets better than that. We only lost 2 games, and one of them was like, well, yeah, this is one of the L's. I mean, we just knew. They clobbered us. 7-0 or whatever. I mean, it was no doubt. Didn't even have to think about it. I mean, it couldn't have gone, from a stress standpoint, even that was beautiful. Even that was perfect. Couldn't have gone better. And thank God for the Astros, too, because I don't know if you've looked around. The rest of our sports teams ain't doing too hot in Houston. They have a combined, checks notes, 2 games that they've won between the Texans and the Rockets. It is November 7th. The Rockets are 1-9, and the Texans are 1-6, and, that tie is in there, that 1-6-1. That's 2 wins between 2 teams that have played 18 games. It's not good. It's not good. So thank God for Jim Crane and the Astros. Because the rebuild continues in other places. But, I mean, that's the other piece of what makes it so sick. It's just like there's no doubt that this is the team that everybody in the city's focused on, right? I mean, I know some hardcore Rockets guys that are still deep in the trenches, and I don't know what they're doing. Mostly trying to make money, I think. It's mostly media dudes, but that shit, that's a miserable place to be right now, bro. And I fucking love the Rockets. I love the Rockets, but I am not trying to see that shit. That's just too... It doesn't even compute in my mind. Like, to go from watching the Astros to the Rockets or Texans right now, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. We just won another World Series. I'm not trying to take us to negative town. I'm just saying it should make you even more appreciative of what the Astros just did, because without them, you're sitting on your couch and you're watching the fucking neck try to hang in there with, I guess that was Philly that just beat us, the Texans, and they're having like their best season ever, 8-0, Philadelphia Eagles for the first time in franchise history. But I'm just saying, it's not fun to be a Texans fan right now. It's not fun to be a Rockets fan right now. But it has never been more fun to be a fan of any team, perhaps ever in the history of sports, than it is to be an Astros fan right now. If you've been here the whole time with us. My God. My God. I don't even feel like I have to yell "suck our dicks" anymore. I don't feel like I have to yell it anymore. It just goes without saying. I'm going to continue to yell it. It just goes without saying at this point, though. I can't believe how well that went. It was miraculous. And I'm so happy for all of us. My God. Feels like we earned it, right? Even as fans, the amount of shit that we've gone through, shit talking we've endured, shit talking we've dished out. And I'm pretty certain I've had people that have at least considered physically attacking me in real life as a result of things I've said to them on the internet revolving around the Astros. So yeah, it does feel like I had something to do with it. And I love that. I love having something to defend. Something to talk shit about that doesn't really, really, really actually really matter, right? Because it's like, it's sports. And sports are silly as hell, man. These are kids' games, as Alex Bregman constantly reminds us. But sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes sports are about community, shared experience, and finding a way to piggyback on the strength of a ball club to get yourself through tough times. That's the beauty of this Astros team. That's what they taught me, right? You're going to make me tear up here at the end of the show, too. I'm so stoked for the guys, especially. I mean, especially for the dudes who were here in 2017, which, again, is not that many anymore. But for them, I'm the most happy. For Bregman, for Altuve. But even for the new guys, man, like Christian Vasquez, I could tell that was rough for him. He didn't know he was leaving Boston. I don't know that he wanted to leave Boston. For it to end this way, mwah, chef's kiss. Trey Mancini, my shitty, holy fuck. I don't know that one of the worst postseason performances in the history of swinging a baseball bat somehow ends up coming up huge in the series clinching Game 6 at first base with a couple of scoops with his fucking eyes closed, I would add, and getting a base hit after going 0-18 to start the postseason. I was so happy for him, too. Stage 3 cancer survivor, Trey Mancini, coming over from Baltimore at the deadline. And at first, I mean, he started pretty hot. He was hitting home runs, and we were like, hey, Trey Mancini, but he didn't do shit in the postseason. So happy for him to make a difference in that final game. I mean, there's so many dudes, so many stories, so many. Every player almost has an incredible story to go along with them, and what makes this World Series championship even more special. And I just can't get over it. I can't get over it. In closing, one of my favorite things that I noticed in 2017 after we won, right? When the Rockets went back-to-back in 93, 94, 94, 95, I was like 7 years old, okay? So I was happy, don't get me wrong. And I remember basically living vicariously through my dad's happiness because he was so much happier than I was. And I didn't really have that, I hadn't lived long enough to even understand what it meant, right? But in 2017 when we won, one of the things that I distinctly remember was, holy shit, there's a lot of merchandise to be had. And I have a lot of it. I've got the 2017 banner thing here next to me if you're watching on YouTube with like each team that we beat. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers. It's one of the things that made that World Series championship so sweet is that we beat these 3 historic franchises that we fucking hate. It's one of the things that made it so great. I spent a lot of money on merchandise that year. But look, if you haven't gone and checked it out yet, the absurdity of the amount of shit that they pump out after your team wins a championship, it's so funny, man. Like, I spent probably 3 hours going through merch, and I put up on our Instagram, @BangingTheCan on Instagram, and on our Twitter, @BangingTheCan on Twitter, some of the funniest ones, but there's like a credit card power bank to charge your phone, right? Like that type of shit. There's like game-used dirt that comes in a clear ball, like USB chargers, commemorative coins, fan chains, Bluetooth speakers, fucking flip-flops, I mean, DVDs. You could buy a ping pong table for $219.99 that says World Series Champions 2022, and it has the Astros logo above it. I don't know why you would want that. You can buy a giant set of Jenga blocks that say World Series Champions 2022. You can get... I mean, this is like, you know when they show one of those freak show fans that has an entire room that's just nothing but memorabilia? You, at this point, just because of 2 World Series championships in a 6-year span, you could legitimately furnish an entire home with nothing but Astros World Series championship shit. And somebody needs to do it. It's mostly tacky and heinous, but it's just something about it that's like, I can't help myself. I'm probably... I don't know, $300 in the wholesale. I keep buying stuff for my like dad and brother because it's shit that I know they won't buy. I'm a better shopper than both of them. All right, I'm better at shopping than my dad and my brother. So I'm getting them Christmas presents that I know they're not gonna get. But yeah, I've been blowing it, man. It's the cash coming out of my ass for this win, and I know a lot of y'all who went to the games and spent thousands of dollars and racked up credit card debt out the ass. You're already feeling it, but like it is one of the things about winning a championship that's so funny is like for some reason money ceases to matter, like currency, the bills we all have to pay. Nobody gives a shit anymore. Everybody just wants to go to the game and buy $480 worth of food and merchandise and then go home and crank. And that's sports, baby. That's the way the cookie crumbles. And I'm deep in the hole. I've been on dude, within 20 minutes of us winning that game, I had an email from Fanatics, Mitchell and Ness, the MLB shop, Astros shop. I mean, it was fucking every single company coming for the wallet. And I respect it. I'm not saying I don't. I mean, we're probably going to do a variation of that at some point. We're still building towards, a a merchandise selection that we can offer y'all. But speaking of which, go to bolenmedia.com/shop and get yourself a Banging the Can dad hat or a t-shirt. I think we've got a couple items in there so far. We'll come up with some more for y'all. But bolenmedia.com is where you can see everything about the company, my company that produces this podcast, along with several others. And if you're an F1 fan, for example, Formula Bone F1 show is available wherever you listen to Banging the Can. It's hosted by Jared Borislow, a.k.a. J-Bone, who is my co-host on the Ross Bolen podcast, my comedy and mental health show, also available wherever you listen to Banging the Can. And if you're watching White Lotus on HBO or you watched House of the Dragon and wanted a podcast to go with that, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is our TV and film, but really the number one House of the Dragon podcast in the world, where we talk about all that stuff. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles also available wherever you listen to Banging the Can. But you can find out all this information on bolenmedia.com. And I'm Ross Bolen. This has been awesome. What a ride. I wish I was able to record more shows than I got to during the run, but look, life goes the way it goes for the reasons it goes. All right? I don't question that shit anymore. Not anymore. Not after all I've seen, especially during this run since 2017. It's been too good. Every time I think we're down or out or I'm down and out, something happens. And this team, man, I'm telling you, there were moments where I was like, well, everything in my life is completely fucked, but at least I've got the Astros. And I'll never forget that. It's why I will be a rabid, psychotic Astros fan until the day breath ceases to pass through my body. Because this team has done more for me than most of the human beings that I know in my actual personal fucking life, which is crazy. But that's how inspiring they've been. That's how much of a source of strength they've been, not just for me, but for so many people, so many of you listening, and it's so cool. If you've got your own story revolving around either this World Series run and what it meant to you, or any of these past several years in this dynasty that has now been formed in the great city of Houston, please share it with me. At Banging the Can on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, we're everywhere. Holler at me at WR Bolen on Twitter and Instagram. Ross Bolen is my name. I will be back soon to talk more Rockets and Texans, perhaps even later this week. Maybe next week. I might need to take a little rest. But Rockets and Texans fans, I'm going to lock back in. I'm locking in. I'm not there yet. I had to enjoy this. Didn't want to sully it with all that losing. But I will lock in. All right? If you know me, you know how much I love the Rockets. You know how much I hate the Texans and love to hate the Texans. It's a pastime as well. I will lock back in. I will be back to talk Rockets and Texans. But until next time, until then, enjoy this. Cherish this. Relish it. And as always, H-Town, stay down.